It's a dull, boring business. And it's been done hundreds and hundreds of times. I think I said before, there's about 450, 500 companies in America that are like us. That's just one country with that many companies like us. So the idea is pretty dull. So we don't have an amazing idea that you can copy. We have a pretty good service, and service is kind of hard to copy. So we do have competitors. We have 6 in Shanghai. Only one of them is probably about 10%, maybe 15% the size of us. The other ones are all quite small, and they're mostly going to consolidate and everything. And what sets us apart from them is our selection of restaurants. As a foreigner, and right now I don't have any foreign competition. I've had a couple here and there, but they didn't run their businesses the right way. Getting the right restaurants is important. When customers want to eat food, they don't say Sherpa's has the best service, I'm going to call them. It's Sherpa's has the best restaurants, I'm going to call them. So you can't really copy, at least in a market that we're already in. Yes, you could do that somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure in the case of like Suzhou or Hangzhou, if we did go in, it wouldn't be somebody that was very big. It would be quite easily to partner up with them, franchise or acquire them, because there just aren't enough big markets here. But the other things that make us successful, I think our service is, it's not great. We have a lot of problems, but it's probably one of the best English services in Shanghai. I think if you stay at a really nice 5-star hotel and you call down to the front desk and you tell them that your refrigerator's broken, it's making a loud noise and you can't sleep at night, I think they're going to say, refrigerator? And that's it. They're not going to understand what you said. Or they'll say, please hold, I'll get a supervisor. But at Sherpa's, you can call up and say, I was just eating my food, I got a dog hair in it, what are you guys going to do? And although we don't train our staff on what to do about dog hair and food, they're going to be able to solve the problem. And we empower them. 99% of the time, when there is a customer complaint, they won't need to put you onto a supervisor. They're trained to handle the complaint then and there. And that's just part of our philosophy. Our customers have a lot of money and very little time. So we kind of build everything around that. And I don't think a competitor could pick that up quite as easy. And I'll give you one of my funner examples. When we started Sherpa's, one of the questions I'd ask on a resume, or one of the questions I'd ask in the interview, is to show us an example of good customer service that you've seen and an example of bad customer service. And we had a girl that did an interview with me, and she told me that her example of good customer service was she bought some pants, some white pants at Esprit. They're closed now, but they were here then. And she took them to a party, and she spilled something on them and kind of ruined them. And she brought them back to the store and said that when she bought these pants, it had this dirty mark on them, and she wants to exchange the pants. They refused to exchange the pants. That was her example of good customer service. Her example of bad customer service was the opposite. It involved intentionally destroying something and taking it back, and they took it. So a lot of times, back then, especially in the world of the Danwei back in the 80s and 90s, customer service a lot of times really meant protecting your company from evil, horrible customers. Saving the company from these terrible customers. And for us, we really had to take that whole thing and turn it on its head. And I think if we were to go to an area well outside Shanghai, they would be doing that same thing. If you called them up and said, I had a problem with this food, they would disagree with you, and they'd tell you no and that you have to keep it. And we still encounter that a little bit today with some newer staff, but they learn pretty quick that that's not the right way to do it. Most of our problems and most of our training involves changing our current rules, changing our current standards. So it's not really new staff that's the problem, it's current staff. Because if we want to stay the best, you talked before about people copying you, we have to constantly keep redefining ourselves and constantly changing, maintaining consistent service to customers, but getting better and better and better. And so every time a new rule comes in, okay, we have 25 girls that are currently answering phones. We have to train all of them with this new rule. And some examples, like when we answer the phone, we used to answer our phones, hello, this is Sarah, how can I help you? And because they're answering phones 100 times a day. And it's so quick, hello, this is Sarah, how can I help you? People can't hear the name you just said. So our standard was, when you answer the phone, you have to say, hello, this is Sarah, how can I help you? You have to pause at the end of your name for almost a second. New staff, no problem. They've never answered a phone before at Sherpa's, so from day one, that was never a problem. Old staff was a nightmare because they've already answered 26,000 calls in 5 years of working here, and now we're changing the whole way that they used to operate. So it's really not so much about the current training as it is changing the way that your current staff does stuff. And even still to this day, I'd say 20% of the time when you call us, they're answering phones wrong. And that's the older staff. Just yesterday, we had a meeting in the morning and we were doing online orders. We have a new online order website. And during that meeting, I did 5 or 6 orders, and every order I wrote in the memo box, "This is a fake order, please do not process it." And then we were testing the times that they would get the order, how long it would take them to translate my comments and then put it into the system. And so after the meeting got done, I went back to my desk and it was about 12:45 and I ordered lunch. And about 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday, I was getting real hungry. It's almost 3 hours I went in. They had deleted the order because they had seen the previous 6 or 7 fake orders and just assumed that I had forgotten to write that this actually was a real order, since maybe they thought I forgot to write fake order in the comments box. So sometimes it even gets me in trouble that I'm testing our service too much. Well, that helps us having bad traffic, because people, when they think about going to this restaurant and getting the food and coming home, they're comparing it to a taxi trip or comparing it to their driver taking them. So in Shanghai, it's quite a vertical city, and it's so condensed that for you to go from your house at 6 p.m., 3 kilometers away to to Xintiandi to get some food, then back home, that's going to take you an hour and a half. By the time you get there, order the food, and come back home. Maybe an hour if you call in advance to tell them to prepare the food. We'll be able to do it in 40 minutes. So what you're comparing us against is this horrible traffic, but our guys don't have to drive in the lanes with cars. They drive in the lanes with bikes, because we use mopeds here. We don't use motorcycles. In Suzhou, we use motorcycles because that's better there. On the other hand, in Beijing, it's the opposite. In Beijing, it's kind of more of a horizontal city, so it's farther. So in Beijing, you think, I'd get a taxi, go to that restaurant, come back home. I could do all that in 45 minutes. But you're going like 7 kilometers. And in Beijing, we can't even use LPG mopeds like we use here, liquid propane mopeds. In Beijing, we have to use electric bicycles, just because the laws are different there. And an electric bicycle is even slower. So in Beijing, in your head, it's going to take you a shorter time. But in actuality, it's going to take us a longer time. So having a heavy, condensed traffic city kind of helps us a little bit. I mean, it benefits us a lot, especially when they realize, wow, it's just going to be, in 15 renminbi, our delivery fee in Shanghai is based on being less than a round-trip taxi. Now taxis in Shanghai are more expensive, but when we launched Sherpas, it was 10 renminbi to take a taxi. So we thought 10 and then 10 on the way back, so 20 will be cheaper than that. Now it's, I think, 12, or what do taxis in Shanghai start at now? I think it's 12 renminbi they start, and then maybe even 14 or 15 at night. So the taxis have gotten more expensive, but we